I bet you're wondering if I actually put 1-2 Switch on this list. The Nintendo Switch's life cycle is coming to an end, and I thought it would be the perfect time to release a video on the must-own Nintendo Switch games. A couple of caveats: this video was recorded before the release of Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and based on all the previews that I've seen, I think that definitely will be a must-own Nintendo Switch title. There's also a ton of games on the Nintendo Switch, and a ton of great games on the Nintendo Switch, so I narrowed this down to 10 first-party Nintendo Switch titles. But I do plan on doing the must-own indie titles on Nintendo Switch, as well as must-own third-party games on Nintendo Switch. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you know when those videos come out, and leave in the comments below what your must-own Nintendo Switch titles are. Also try to keep this to one game per franchise. So here are my 10 must-own first-party Nintendo Switch games. First up, I have Fire Emblem Three Houses. I am a huge Fire Emblem fan. I believe that Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS is one of the best, if not the best game on 3DS. There are 3 distinct storylines to choose from, plus 1 in DLC, so there's a ton of content to experience. I know a lot of people might not like strategy RPGs, but Fire Emblem is the best one out there, and Three Houses is a great entry point to jump into. I know Fire Emblem has been around for a long time, but you don't really need any prior knowledge for this game. Unlike the other Fire Emblem game on Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem Engage, which relies heavily on prior knowledge of the series. Plus, there are a ton of husbandos and waifus. You can't go wrong. Next, I have another RPG, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, I know that 1, 2, and 3 are on the Nintendo Switch, and starting at 3 might be a little odd, but I do believe 3 is the most approachable. The battle mechanics are the easiest to comprehend, and 3 has a lot of the quality of life improvements that weren't in 1 and 2. And the cutscenes in this game go so hard. When you play this game, you will be shocked at the production value, especially when you compare it to another very popular JRPG, Pokemon. The quality of Xenoblade Chronicles to Pokemon is night and day. I honestly can't wait to see what Monolith Soft does with a more powerful console. Again, there's a bunch of waifus and husbandos. Next, I have Animal Crossing New Horizons. I know most people who own a Nintendo Switch probably also own Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I do feel recommending this in 2024 is a little bit different than what it was back in 2020. Animal Crossing New Horizons came out right when the pandemic was starting, and it was what everybody needed. And it was what everybody was playing. If you didn't experience the hype back in 2020, I don't know how to explain it. It was just something special. And unfortunately, they stopped the updates, which means there's no new content coming to it. But you could still put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game. I'm pretty sure it started the cozy genre. Next, I have Pikmin 4. Now, some people might not agree with me, but Pikmin is a fantastic series, and Pikmin 4 is the best one. This is another one like Fire Emblem that people might be turned off by the gameplay. Pikmin can be a very stressful game. You don't want your Pikmin to die, and it's really sad when they do. But Nintendo really made the Pikmin series approachable with 3, and they continued that with 4. I do think that Pikmin 4 might be a little too easy, but it is just so fun to play. I always found Pikmin 1 to be very stressful, but Pikmin 4 is the complete opposite. It's a very relaxing game. And if you enjoy Pikmin 4, the entire series is on Nintendo Switch, which is really cool. Next, I have Metroid Dread. I don't understand why Metroid isn't more popular than it is. Yeah, Metroid Dread is the best-selling game in the series, but it only sold a little over 3 million copies. But when you look at it compared to the best-selling games on the Nintendo Switch, it's nowhere near them. I really don't know why people stay away from this series. Do they think it's too hard? Too spooky? I just don't understand why people are so turned off by this series. The atmosphere is amazing. The pacing is amazing. The difficulty is satisfying. Why don't people buy these games? If you haven't picked up Metroid Dread yet, pick it up now. Thank me later. And while you're at it, pick up Metroid Prime Remastered, which is a 10 out of 10. And then when Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally comes out, you'll understand. Next, I have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yes, it sold over 60 million copies. Yes, you probably own it. But that means you must own it. And that's what this list is. I do think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best in the series. It definitely has the most amount of tracks with the Booster Course Pass. The battle mode is actually really fun. If you haven't tried the battle mode, I highly recommend. I think the roster is great now that the DLC is out. And it's Mario Kart. Like, you have to get Mario Kart on the Nintendo Switch. Next, I have Pokemon Legends Arceus. I had to put a Pokemon game on the list. And I believe Pokemon Legends Arceus changed up the formula enough to make it completely unique from the other Pokemon games. Don't get me wrong, I have enjoyed every Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. I loved Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for what it was, even with all the bugs and glitches. I thought Pokemon Sword and Shield was great. I think Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are super underrated. And even new Pokemon Snap, Detective Pikachu Returns, and Mystery Dungeon are great additions to the library. I could have trolled and just made this whole list Pokemon games. But Pokemon Legends Arceus actually took risks. The catching mechanic is a lot more fun than it is in standard Pokemon games. I actually really enjoyed the boss battles. Shiny hunting's super fun and easy in this game, so I love it. I know that Pokemon catches a lot of flack for how ugly their games are, but I don't think Pokemon Legends Arceus actually looks bad. It's a distinct art style, like an oil painting. Yeah, it's muddy at times, but overall, I think it looks pretty good. I really can't wait for Pokemon Legends ZA. Next, I have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I talked about how hype Animal Crossing was when that came out. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was extremely hyped up. I remember the Everyone is Here trailer and lost my mind. And that continued throughout the life of the game with all the character reveals. But it's more than just hype. It's a phenomenal game. It has all of the characters that were in the previous Smash Bros. Games, plus a ton of additional characters. It has all of the stages that were in previous Smash Bros. Games. It has a great single player mode. There's a ton of content in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It is hands down the best Super Smash Bros. Game ever made. I don't care what you think, Melee fans. The question is, where do they go from here? I know Sakurai said it was the last Super Smash Bros. Game, but it is the best-selling fighting game ever, so there's no way they're letting that franchise go. Next, I have Super Mario Odyssey. This might be another one that seems like a no-brainer because it's a 3D Mario on a Nintendo platform. Of course, you should get it. But the game came out over 7 years ago, and there's been a lot of Nintendo Switches sold since then. So there's a lot of people that have not played this game. This is a game that I wish I did not rush through. I beat it in like a week, and then I 100% it, collected all the moons within like 2 weeks of the game's release. And unfortunately, they didn't release any new content, so I experienced the full game within 2 weeks of release. But this is such an amazing game. The cappy mechanic is unique and different. There's a great variety in the kingdoms. There are a ton of Easter eggs that pay homage to previous Super Mario games, and it's just fun. I had a smile on my face the whole time playing it. I just can't wait for the next 3D Mario game. And finally, the #1 Nintendo Switch first-party game that you must own, 1-2 Switch. Nah, just kidding. It's Breath of the Wild. You know how people always ask what's a game that you wish you could experience for the first time again? That's Breath of the Wild for me. It was such a magical experience. I think what made it a magical experience for me is because I got it at midnight and I went home and played it right away. And back in 2017, I wasn't chronically online as much as I am today. So I just played that game to experience it. I didn't watch any videos, I didn't watch any streams, I didn't read any reviews. I just loaded the game up and explored Hyrule. I know a lot of people have soured on it, but it is still a 10 out of 10 for me. It does not play like a typical Zelda game. There are no dungeons. There are no items that you need to collect in order to progress. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. And that concept blew my mind. Exploring that world for the first time is something I cannot explain. It's something that you need to experience for yourself. A lot of people say the world's empty. I don't agree. I think that's the whole point. You're supposed to explore. A lot of people don't like the weapon breaking. I don't agree. I think it balances the game and you get to try out a ton of unique weapons. A lot of people don't like that there aren't traditional dungeons. I don't agree. I actually enjoyed the Divine Beast. I thought the shrines were the mini dungeons. A lot of people don't like that there are 900 Korok seeds, but you're not supposed to collect all the Korok seeds. I don't know, Breath of the Wild will always be a 10 out of 10 for me. Once you beat Breath of the Wild, definitely check out Tears of the Kingdom, which is another 10 out of 10 for me. It took Breath of the Wild and it expanded on it, and that's all I really wanted. I enjoyed the Sky Islands, the depths, the caves. The new mechanics made it feel a lot different than Breath of the Wild, and playing that for the first time, I had the same magical feeling. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are both must-own Nintendo Switch games. Well, there you have it. Those are my 10 must-own first-party Nintendo Switch titles. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you on the next one.